Today we're talking about how to invest aggressively early on in the year. I share a personal example of how we invested six figures in the first 3 months of this year. Stay to the end where I share mistakes to avoid. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, and I love talking about financial freedom after experiencing burnout early on in my pharmacist career. On this channel, I talk about passive income and simplifying to combat feelings of burnout and stress in your life. I also share openly about my burnout story and how we're pursuing financial freedom after paying off massive student loan debt. Make sure to watch those videos as well. Now, before we get into the details of how to do this and why we're doing this, I want to take a step back and make sure we're all on the same page about two different modes of how to invest. One being lump sum investing and one being dollar cost averaging. With lump sum investing, you are typically using cash flow right away, where you're taking that big lump sum. Let's say you're having $2,000 in cash coming in. You're going to take that, no matter what day of the week it is, what day of the month it is, or what's happening in the market, and you're going to invest it in your typical index funds or mutual funds that you enjoy investing in. Whereas in dollar cost averaging, you are not necessarily always using your cash flow right away. You are basically using it each week or once a month to invest in your preferred stock market funds, whether it's index funds or mutual funds. And that could mean that you're holding on to cash a little bit longer, making sure that you're paying all your bills before you invest, and dollar cost averaging it out through the year. Now, if you have a work 401k where money and contributions are coming out of each paycheck throughout the year, you're getting 26 paychecks and contributions are coming out evenly throughout the year, that would be considered dollar cost averaging, where those contributions are dividing that risk throughout the year. Whereas if you're front loading your investments and maybe you're contributing all of your work 401k in the first 3 months of the year, where I have a video on that from just last week, you can watch that video as well. Then you are more lump sum type investing and investing early and often. And this is because research shows that lump sum investing performs slightly better than dollar cost averaging based on previous historical data. And yes, it's only slightly better performance, but this is one of the reasons why we do prefer lump sum investing early and often. Whereas the dollar cost averaging, yes, we'll do some of that as well throughout the year, but it won't be as big of a return for some of our investments potentially. This also means that investing early on in the year could mean more potential for growth in our investment portfolio. Remember, the term potentially could mean. It doesn't mean that it always will mean, but we do invest early and often and hold for the long term. We're holding for over 10 years in our investment portfolios. If you would like a reminder on the steps to retire early or the order for investing to fat fire, please make sure to watch those videos as well. Now, before we get into how we actually invested six figures in the first 3 months of 2022, I want to share some reminders and assumptions you can make about us so that you know what type of background that we have. We are dual income earners with no children currently. We currently rent in a high cost of living area of Los Angeles, California. We are both six-figure income earners who work in healthcare. We both have small businesses, and then I also have a W-2 where I work full-time as an associate professor. We have a fully funded emergency fund. We also have a down payment fund for a house we're purchasing in 2022. We are debt-free. You can watch our video on how we paid off over $385,000 worth of student loans linked below. Now that you know a little bit more about us, if you have not watched our videos previously, this will help set the stage of how we're able to invest six figures in the early part of the year. Let's start off with my work 401k. Now, the work 401k, there's a maximum contribution of $20,500 for the year 2022. And for my front loading, I am able to contribute part of this, but not all of it if I want my employer match throughout the entire year. I uploaded a video on how to front load your 401k in my specific scenario in those examples and why I'm not front loading the entire account early on, because my employer matches only per paycheck, so I need to contribute all 26 paychecks. So I contributed about $12,000 in the first 3 months of the year, and then my employer contributed about $1,500 in the first part of the year as well over those first 3 months. For the work 401k for my husband, he contributed the full amount of $20,500 as a lump sum payment into his account in January and February. For the Roth IRA for myself, I contributed the full $6,000 as a lump sum to my account in January through a backdoor option. I'm not going to go into details about how to do this. If you'd like to learn more about regular Roth IRA versus backdoor Roth IRA, make sure that you're looking at the income limits and contributing appropriately. For the Roth IRA for my husband, he is currently not contributing to this account because of his tax status and his income levels. And it's something that is not the best advantage to him because there's other tax advantage retirement funds he can contribute to instead. Going back to the work 401k for my husband, as a small business owner, he's able to contribute profits into this account as well. For 2022, you're able to contribute up to $61,000 total into your 401k account. So he already contributed the $20,500 as an employee, and now he can contribute up to 25% of his profits as an employer. So based on this information, he contributed $20,000 into the account. He has the remaining at $20,500 he's able to contribute to the account through the rest of 2022. Next up is real estate. Now, we've been actively researching different ways to get involved in real estate investments without being landlords and owning our own properties. So we've decided on one area of real estate syndication where we're able to invest with several other investors into properties and then buy and hold for a 5 to 10 year period, depending on the investment and the property that we're going in on. So we decided to invest $25,000 into a real estate syndication in January as well. Now, I'm not going to go into all the complexities of real estate syndications in this specific video, but if you'd like to learn more, please make sure to comment below to ask your question and I might address it in a future video. Finally is our taxable brokerage accounts. We each have our own taxable brokerage accounts and we contribute over $15,000 into these accounts over the first 3 months of the year. And then we both auto buy index funds in these accounts each week. And index funds for us mean total stock market or S&P 500 type of index funds. And these are on an auto buy schedule weekly. Then we also have auto buys of mutual funds based on a limit price when the stock market dips. So we buy mutual funds both from the total stock market or the S&P 500 when it hits a certain price point on the lower end when the stock market dips throughout the day. So based on those auto buy limits, it bought several times in January, February, March when the stock market dipped, and a lot of times when we weren't even awake because we live on the Pacific coast. So the stock market is usually open before I'm awake sometimes. That's how we invested over 6 figures into our investment portfolios in the first 3 months of the year. I hope that these strategies help you. I hope they inspire you to invest early and often. I'd love to hear your own examples and stories in the comments below. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel for weekly advice. Make sure you're also downloading our free resources on financial well-being and burnout below. Until next time, cultivate joy.